The communication detail page is designed to allow you to set up a particular mailing, or it could be a particular text message campaign that you're going to send out to the people that are subscribed to the subscription that the communication is associated with. So to get to the communication detail page, you simply click on one of the communications from the subscription list, and which are here, or if you're creating a new subscription, you can click add. But let's take a look at one that's already there. So we'll take a look at the delivery map is live communication. So the first tab is the details tab. This is just a name that you give it. It could be, the purpose of the communication. It could be, quarterly newsletter, fall 2018, whatever it may be. If it's an email only, if you're just sending out an email, you would check email only. If it's text only, you can check there. If it's both email and text, you can check there. Email from indicates who the email is going to be sent from. And so these emails can be defined. You'll need to get in touch with the software developer to have any new email addresses added to the database so that they can be selectable from here. Email subject, obviously, is just a subject that's going to appear with the email. If you want to have the person's name in the subject, or actually in the salutation, which I'll talk about in a second, you can just put the word name in brackets, as you'll see here, and that person's first name will be included when the email is generated. So you can do that in the email subject, and you can also do it in the salutation. The salutation is going to be the very first line that appears in the email. It's going to appear right above the line that says, to view this email in a browser, click here. So anything that you want to do is kind of an introduction. Typically, this salutation is going to show up in the list of emails. If someone is looking in their email software or looking online at their list of emails in their inbox, they'll typically see this as the first part of the message. If you're sending a text, you'll need to include the text body here. Want to try to limit the text message to around 100 characters, and that will allow for the words text and data rates applied to be appended to the end, which is done in order to keep the text messages from being blocked. Until you have the communication completely created and ready to go, you'll want to leave scheduled date and time blank. But once you're ready for this to go out, you want to go ahead and set the scheduled date and set the scheduled time. You virtually can send these out at any time. However, we do recommend not sending out anything before 7 a.m. and not sending anything out after 7 p.m. And this would be just for the courtesy of people who may have email notifications pop up on their phone if they're still asleep, or it's doing something else in the evening where they don't necessarily want to be disturbed. Then if that pops up and beeps and you're the reason for that, that might create a little frustration. So we just encourage you to try to keep that between 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. The sections. So each section that gets created is either an image, a collection of HTML text, or possibly a combination of images and text. So if you have fairly complicated graphics that you're going to use as part of the email, we do encourage you to go ahead and create that as an image so that everything will display properly no matter what type of email system the person who's receiving the email may be using. You can also add links in here. There's other things that you can do. A separate video will show you how to create a section and all of the different options that are in there. This is a communication that's already been sent out, and so you'll see that a message will pop up here saying the communication send is completed. Don't change images, links, or buttons in the section. Reason for this is that the people that are viewing the email will need this to stay exactly the same once they receive their email, so that the email can be rendered properly. If for some reason you deleted a section or went in and made some changes, then the person wouldn't be able to see exactly what they needed to see. Activity. This simply shows the activity that has taken place for this particular communication. And so you can see this is going to show who received who the email was delivered to, what day and time that it was delivered. And so you'll be able to see that all the way down through here. So if you're someone saying, hey, I didn't receive this particular email, or I did receive this email and I wasn't supposed to because I wasn't subscribed, you can always check here and see if they're showing up in the list, and you'll know exactly when the email was sent and exactly what time it was. On the statistics tab, this just kind of gives a general overview of the status of this particular communication. And so you can see that 5,148 communication records were created. There aren't any queued, which means they've all been sent out. If you come out here while a communication is being sent, that number queued will be non-zero, and it will start to go down. But here we created 5,148 and sent 5,148, so that one's done. 5,146 emails that indicated they were sent. 1,011 of those were actually opened by people from, and again, it's hard to tell exactly because certain email clients will not provide this information or update this information. And then also certain email clients may have this blocked, and certain people that are viewing emails on various devices or in a web browser, sometimes these may not actually show up or be opened as well. So you can see that 1,011 of those were open. And then here's the views that took place. So the email was sent out on 7/6. So obviously most of the views occurred on 7/6, but then people don't necessarily check their email every day. So some people viewed it on 7/7, 7/8, 7/9, 7/10, 7/11, and which is the day this video is being recorded. If you happen to view an email multiple times, oftentimes it will show up multiple times in here. So while that says 802, it could be that that's maybe 700, and a few people may have tried to view the email or view the email multiple times. Under the tools section, this is a place where during testing, you can actually send out a test email to a particular person in order so that they can take a look and see what the email is going to look like in their particular browser or their particular email software. So to do that, you can just click send a test email, and that will send that email out to the person whose email is indicated there. And then you can also do preview in a browser, and that's just a quick way without having to go back and check your email. That's just a quick way to look and view and see how that's going to look in a particular in the browser. And so this is going to show you a few things. One, it's going to show you the name that was substituted into the salutation here. And if there is no first name on something, it will just use the word friend. You can see the link here that says view this email in a browser. This is how the person receiving the email would actually be able to view it. You can see that there's a link here that will take them to be able to, in this case, they have a link here to be able to go and register. And then it also shows you all of the unsubscribe information that is automatically added down here at the bottom. You can see the safe unsubscribe link, and then there's information in here about Meals by Grace and a link to the privacy policy and addresses and phone numbers and things like that. And all this is in here to avoid the emails being listed as spam. This follows all of the rules that are necessary for sending out bulk emails. So that's kind of an overview of the communication detail page. Again, another video will show how sections are created and how to order those and move those around.